Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. So today I have a review of a upcoming, actually it's going to be coming soon. By the time this video comes out, this ETF might already be out. So today we're going to be looking at the Proshares JEPY killer. So this is a 0DTE covered call ETF. According to their marketing materials, they're saying that they're the first covered call 0DTE product, which is technically true. JEPY was the first cash secured put ETF, but I would expect hopefully similar returns, or actually ProShares might have better returns, but we'll get to that in a second. Well, first I want to also thank Max Convexity for reminding me about this ETF. This was on my to-do list, but there was so much like Neos, Defiance, and YieldMax on the news. Just kind of got lost in the shuffle, and he kind of reminded me of this particular fund. So let's get into it. Defiance ETFs are great, but so far there's only been 3 of them in terms of 0DTE. And everybody else they have covered call ETFs on the indices, but they're not. I haven't seen anyone that's been like a serious challenger until now. Does ProShare has the like an answer to this? I think they do. So this ETF is going to go under the ticker symbol ISPY, which is pretty funny. It kind of reminds me of like the one that Niels has, but it's like SPY I. So anyway, I think Defiance should be worried just a little bit. They have also the same monthly distributions, but their expense ratio is only 55 basis points, so that's like a 44% discount. So either Defiance has to come up with more ETFs, or they have to maybe do like a temporary discount to maybe fend off like this new challenger. Because the other thing is like, for those of you that don't know, ProShares was one of the OGs in the space, and I have like a personal bias towards them because back during like the 2008-2009 financial crisis, these sets of funds helped me make quite a good chunk of money. So I'm a little biased towards them, but they also have really good option chains. So like the Defiance ones, they're okay. Like for example, JEPY and triple QY. Technically, you could like sell the cash secured puts against like the funds themselves, but sometimes it's a bit of a struggle. I'm thinking just based on my past experience, just trading ProShare ETFs either directly or with their options. I don't think I recall any serious issues. So Defiance. I hope you guys are paying attention. Like ProShares is the OG with a stacked roster. Like so far, like they have 96. Like these are what they call they call them geared funds. So basically, there's a leverage funds. Like they have up to 3x. I've traded like a handful of these before, like this ultra biotechnology before. I've looked into like the Bitcoin and like other crypto related funds. I can't say I'm thrilled with those. I'm just gonna wait for like the regular Bitcoin spot ETFs, but these are available if you want to just like play around. I've also had like good experiences with the financials versions of like these like either double up or double down, or triple up or triple down. So back in the days, these were like really handy funds to have around, just like for trading, because when volatility was just it was insane back in 2008 2009. In 2020, the volatility was also pretty crazy, but it didn't last as long. The 2008 2009, because it was just like the whole like we weren't sure of if the like any banks were going to survive, or like investment banks will survive. So that was a pretty good crazy time. And like I like again, I made some good monies with these back in the past. Nowadays they're not as crazy because like the short ETFs, like they have a really serious NAV erosion problem, just because markets have been generally trending up for like quite a long time now. So just be careful if you do decide to play around with these. Like keep your position sizes small. Um, and then I also want to like show you they have like kind of like just regular ETFs too. Like these are 46 of like kind of like regulars, meaning they don't have any. They're not like basically like the non-leverage products. And I just also wanted to kind of show you this guy too, because they have EFED and EMDV. If Proshares decides to maybe also do covered call versions of like any of these, I think maybe that's what they're thinking because there could be a lot of money coming for these type of funds because they also have like different types of like strategies too. So like Defiance, if you want to compete, you gotta hopefully like the SEC will approve like your like the ones that you guys have in the pipeline. So anyway, so this their methodology is a little funky though. For the ProShares version, like the ISPY. Um, Basically, at first I thought they're gonna do something similar to what uh, like the finance funds, or maybe even like the yield max funds, where they're buying like something that might be like in the money, but then like every day they're selling like calls against like a longer dated in the money call or something like that. But then like when you just like start reading through like the documents, they're saying the fund will not write daily call options, but instead they're going to use they're trying to gain the exposure through like swap agreements. When I was looking through like the documentation, I didn't see how they're going to be structured. So I can't really make a like a determination whether I want to buy into this like immediately or not. So I'm going to be definitely looking at their website to see like when they update like the holdings. And then also like this fund will probably have like a NAV erosion problem because right off the bat you see like some of the distributions might be described as like a return of capital. And then we'll also take a look at like the kind of like the S&P 500 because this index is what the strategy is trying to mimic. So let's just take a further look. So they're going to invest in equity securities, which is pretty interesting, and then use like these swap agreements to kind of mimic like the covered calls on top of like these, I guess like the securities that will try to match like the performance of like the underlying S&P 500. So maybe like the NAV erosion won't be as bad because they have like the actual equities, and then like the usual where they have like some treasury bills just to kind of meet in case like people want to redeem their shares and then they have extra cash available to do that. And then let's say they use like a mathematical approach to investing, which I guess kind of vague, but okay, we'll see what their clients can do. They also invest in gaining exposure to only a representative sample. So again, what I mentioned for the equity securities, they're probably not going to buy all 500 because it won't probably wouldn't be practical. What they'll probably do, like what I can see this fund turning out to be, kind of like Mag 7, like the Magnificent 7 stocks, plus maybe like a handful of other guys just to get like the similar like total return to like this index that they're mentioning. And I really try to look through like the there's also something called a statement of additional information. You guys should take a look at that as well. So any swaps that are entered into the fund, um, they're settled on a net basis. So this kind of reminds me of like how Defiance when they're selling cash secured puts on like the underlying index. Their cash it's similar to cash settlement rather than like swapping like collateral back and forth. This is just like a net basis, so it's kind of like well, if they lose, they're going to pay money to this counterparty, but if they win, the counterparty is going to pay the Proshares and consequently us. So I think that makes things a little bit smoother. Moving on. So again, I mentioned counterparty risk because it doesn't specifically mention any particular one counterparty, which is good. You don't want just like one counterparty. You want like multiple counterparties to kind of submit like bid and ask just to make sure that there's a good market in case something bad happens. Then you can like kind of like dump your holdings on to somebody else. Just in case like something really bad happens. You don't want to be stuck like there's only one counterparty. Then that's a problem because then you're at the mercy of only one counterparty rather than like a market. So they're saying over here, again in their statement of additional information, they're not going to enter any unclear swap unless like ProShare advisors believes that the other party is creditworthy. So at least they're making sure like there's no like deadbeats on the other end of our transactions. But again, like there's no guarantee with this stuff because like the swaps are kind of they're not like they're not meant to be like kind of like a general public type of like financial instruments, kind of like stocks, bonds, just like regular options. These are a little funkier and they require, I guess, like kind of like deeper pockets. So I'm a little. This is the only part where I'm a little leery of. They're saying that it will be a major global financial institution, but I guess like when they update the holdings, like I'll probably feel better. Like for example, if it's like Goldman Sachs or like Morgan Stanley, then I have more confidence. But if it's like Joe Schmo like Panda funds, then like I'm gonna be like kind of sketched out. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt here, because like again, ProShares they've been around for a while, so they that leads me to believe that they know what they're doing. And then this, if you want to look up the index yourself, there's something called the S&P 500 Daily Covered Call Index. So so far they're off to a good start, but again, this is like this index itself is like relatively new. So I have high hopes for this, like for this ISPY, but they need to outperform JEPY to kind of compensate for the extra risk of like like so far like we don't know what the counterparties are, but they have a decent level of transparency. And then like as I mentioned before, like the index itself, so far the year to date, 24% is not bad. It's not as good as JEPY. But they're still still very early here, so they either JEPY can kind of mess up and then their returns go down, or like ISPY can like maybe outperform and to kind of match up. So I'm really hoping for like a competitive battle here. ISPY already has like the expense ratio advantage, and they might have like the kind of option chain advantage too. Again, that's just my guess. So another knock on this particular fund is like the I'm not sure if the portfolio managers are eating their own cooking, but again, because this is new, so I think like once they update this, because this is like from May 2023, so that's not I can't knock them for like not investing in something that's probably in like the beginning stages. So there's a chance that this could improve. Like obviously if they're kind of like Jay from Ziggo Financial, whether he actually buys into each of these ETFs, then that's another sign of confidence. And here's one other interesting thing. I think this is kind of fortuitous for ProShares, because I noticed like when I look at like each of the individual fund, like the distributions, the dividends they're paid out on like the kind of like near the end of the month. So again, this is a good way to potentially diversify. So for example, if I was kind of on the fence with JEPY, but maybe like I kind of like their IWM or triple QY, then I can actually keep that because like Defiance pays out near the beginning of the month, but Proshares, like if they pay out like near the end of the month, that would be really ideal because then I don't have to worry about like kind of like over diversifying. Like I can keep like the maybe like a small cap or tech oriented like near the beginning of the month, and then I can just have like the regular S&P 500 related returns near the end of the month. So that would be good. But there is hope for Defiance. Don't count them out yet because they still have to release their EEMY and EEFY. If you guys haven't seen like that video yet, I'll put it like kind of like in one of those markers. Um, because I really like how like they're trying like different I guess like styles of like ETFs. So these will give us like international diversification. And they also have like a treasury product coming out with possible opening the door for new option strategies. And then who else like we don't know what else they have cooking too. And then this is just my Panda like speculation. The field is wide open for anyone to kind of jump in because GLD, SLV, TLT, UNG, and USO, they have I guess I'm gonna call them zero delights, like meaning like there's kinda zero DT but not quite. They only have like the options so far on Wednesday and Friday. So anyone can jump in and kind of like just you know make like a more frequent version of like cover calls or cast appeared puts on these guys. Oh man, and then that'll also offer like even more diversification on top of what we have already. Um, so like Defiance, if you're listening, please make this happen. I'm pretty sure you guys are already sniffing around at this. So I mean, wow, there's been so much good news. I mean, again, I just want to reiterate, like some of the previous mentioned products haven't come out yet. They're still awaiting SEC approval. But the fact that like ProShares like they're coming out with a competitor competing product soon. So I expect really good things from like everybody involved. That's like kind of competing for like the space. So there's gonna be so many more products, and then we can even further diversify than what we have. So this is really good news. Again, like there's like the usual risk of like we don't have any control of the option strike selection. And the implied volatility could collapse. Things can always get cheaper. Um, oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot to mention one thing. Like I also noticed on the ProShares site, they also have like a return of capital section. So this will give us like I guess it's just like tax planning. This is also always like handy to know. So yeah, guys, like there's so much good stuff coming out. And I'm kind of actually backlogged too, so I'm trying to pump this information out as fast as I can. Guys, if you can please like and subscribe, share with people that you care about, so that they can kind of like maybe start investigating this stuff too. I just want to say thank you for all the new subscribers that have been helping me out. Um, and guys, as always, there's gonna be more stuff like that that I'm still working on that I'm trying to pump out. So I'm really excited. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.